Hi, I'm Angela Non.
I'm Ariana Kempis.
And this is BRB Crying.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BRB Crying. I'm Ariana, also known as Arns.
And I'm Angela, also known as Nins. And we are gathered here today.
Ooh! Sorry. Visceral reaction.
To celebrate a cry that we had.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
And that's all we got.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. See you next week. We'll be back. I don't know what else you want me to say.
I know. Like, how much more do you have to demand from us? Actually,
Yeah.
why don't I first explain what this little thing is here on the couch?
The Uncle Bezos package?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have an Uncle Bezos package here sitting next to me. And that is because everyone's favorite crybaby just turned another year older.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I don't even know what I was going for there, but I would like to give you your birthday gift.
Who? Me?
Happy birthday,
Thanks.
dear Arns.
Okay, what is this?
Ooh!
Yes! Sick, bro. These are headphones. To all you crybabies listening, my headphones are fucked. They are just the little white Apple ones. And funny thing, when you listen to audio on them, which I do multiple hours a day, it sounds like you're underwater. So, what an upgrade. Thank you.
You're welcome. Listeners, you have to understand that for the last 14 episodes, Arns has been using the jankiest headphones to edit all of our wonderful episodes, all of our reels. She could barely hear it herself.
Wow. What a gift. Okay, I'm going to put it on.
Wow.
What do you think?
She's an official podcast producer now.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Thanks, Nins.
You're welcome.
Love it.
Happy birthday.
I'm really excited about this. And it's funny because I don't usually ask for things, you know? Mm-hmm. But I needed this one.
Yeah, I knew you needed them.
Thanks, Nins.
You're welcome.
Beautiful gift. I really appreciate this. Wow. Should we start every episode with a gift that we give each other?
As long as I'm next week.
I mean, that would make sense, but you could give me another gift. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you? How you doing?
I'm fine. Can't complain. How about you?
I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot going on, but nothing I can't handle.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I should just plug everything with absolutely no transition. So please sign up for our Substack. Linked in the show notes, link in bio, brbcrying.podcast on all socials. We got the weekly newsletter going. Mm-hmm. It's a ride.
Yeah. It's fun.
I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice little creative writing exercise.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I sobbed when I read your...
Did you?
I did. I cried. Yeah.
Is that what your story is today?
Yeah.
My story? And then I'm like, then what? Then what happened?
Oh my God. But yeah, so please sign up for our newsletter. Another announcement for any of you who happen to be located here in the SF Bay Area. We are going to be at Undiscovered SF this Saturday, October 19. And we will link it in the show notes, and we will also blast it on socials, all the details. But we are going to be at a table there in collaboration with my sister, Alexa's business, Curated Cultura. And we will also link that in the show notes, but it'll be a fun time. So stop by, say hi. The theme is self-care. So come maybe have a little cry with us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Bring your tissues.
Yeah. And I think that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't. I think we are good to go.
Okay.
Let's freaking rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. And what are you going to talk about this week? I have no idea.
Should I build it up? Because I know you're sitting there in suspense.
Because you did not mention it last week.
All right. Well, last week I had the honor of recounting to you, my beloved crybabies, Act 1 of the greatest musical of all time, Hamilton. We spent time going over some background of the musical. We talked about how both Arns and I were obsessed over it when it first came out. And then I went through the entire plot of Act 1 and all the parts that made me cry. And to be honest, that was just a little teaser, a little hors d'oeuvre.
Okay.
Just a little appetizer for what was to come in Act 2, which is what we will be covering today. So if you aren't caught up, go back and listen to last week's episode. Well, go back and watch the freaking musical, first of all, if you have not already. Then listen to our episode. A lot of homework today, guys. And once you've done all that, you will now be ready for us to dive into Act 2.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
So, quick recap of where we left off. The Continental Army wins the Revolutionary War against Britain. Alexander Hamilton is a decorated war hero. He helps form this new nation. It's called the United States. She's kind of indie. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
He accepts the role as Secretary of Treasury under George Washington. And he's married to Eliza. And together they have a son named Philip. The first act ends with Alexander still very hungry to get to work and take on these roles of power and significance, all the while leaving behind his wife and his son. So, Act 2 opens up with introducing one of Alexander's many political rivals, Thomas Jefferson. And once Thomas and Alexander are working together in the same cabinet under George Washington, there is this immediate dislike. It's giving enemies. It's giving rivals.
Okay.
And although Hamilton is very much George Washington's right-hand man, Alexander still feels this immense pressure to get this fucking boring-ass financial plan through.
Such a bore.
You know what I mean?
Ugh.
Oh my God. I don't fucking care what's in it. All you need to know is that he really needs Thomas Jefferson to be like, okay, fine, I'll approve it. And Tommy J is like, fuck no, I'm not fucking approving this.
Tommy J.
And Georgie Dub was like, well, Alex,
These nicknames.
you better fucking work. You got to get this shit approved. I don't care how you do it. You need to get this through and approved by the government.
Yeah.
So, of course, Alexander throws himself into his job and chooses to work throughout the summer while his wife and son go on vacation. And back then, vacations lasted a whole fucking season.
As they should now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks PTO who? I don't know who that is. That's what it should be. Months. You know? So yeah, they're gone for the whole season. So here, Alexander finds himself a little stressed, a little under duress, and very, very lonely.
Poor Al.
So what does Al do? What does this piece of shit do? He starts an affair. But he doesn't just start any affair.
No.
He starts an affair with a woman who has an awful husband. And said awful husband finds out about this little arrangement and then starts extorting Hamilton for money to keep the extramarital relationship a secret.
I love it.
The worst part. Not the worst part.
I beg to differ. I love this song.
But this is an awful part in the musical, but my God, an incredible song.
Oh, God.
This is your favorite song, huh?
I I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the most fun for me.
Okay.
To like play and sing, you know.
Sure, absolutely.
I haven't slept in a week. I was weak.
You know, stop us. You know what I mean? Jesus. Okay, so more boring politics happens. Hamilton, he gets his little plan through. Aaron Burr is like, oh man, how did he do that? I want to do cool things too.
Verbatim.
So Burr runs for the Senate. Okay. And Tommy J and Hamilton's rivalry continues to grow. And Tommy J is like, you know what? Fuck this. I cannot keep working with him. He has way too much influence over our president, George Washington. So, like, I'm just going to run for president.
Yeah, fuck it.
So there is a song where George Washington, who has truly been like a father figure for Alexander this whole time, he tells Alexander that not only is Thomas Jefferson running for president, but that he himself, George Washington, is stepping down from the role. This song is called One Last Time. And honestly, I think this is my favorite song of the whole musical.
Yeah.
God, I fucking love this song so much. And you know what I was thinking? I was thinking that last week I was a little too easy on you.
Easy on me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because I didn't make you rewatch the songs that I was talking about.
It's okay. I
No, here's the thing. I know that we both know this musical like the back of our hand. But I want to get us in the mindset.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm going to play this song for you.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's my favorite too.
Really?
He's
Oh
just
my
so
God.
his God.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do it. Let's
play
fucking do it. Okay. All right. Well, we just brought Arns back to that place. We just played One Last Time. We just watched it on Disney Plus. And like I mentioned, this is my favorite song in the whole musical. One, because it's fucking gorgeous. But to me, the meaning of the song is so powerful. And I think it's because I personally have always been fascinated by the concept of leadership. What makes a good leader? And more interestingly, what makes certain people think that they are worthy to take on that role, that they deserve that role? Is it ego? Is it charisma? And what are the leadership styles that have been the most effective and most impactful and the most remembered in history? Like, are there just some people that are born with this extraordinary character? And maybe this has been on my mind because for the last several years now, we have gotten used to living in, I hate to say it, unprecedented times. But there is so much unrest in this world and so much divide and a lot of genuine concern for our safety. It's been a long time since a lot of us have ever felt truly safe under the leadership of our government. But even on a smaller scale, in our own immediate lives, we are so often coming to the realization that the people who hold power and influence over us, our bosses, our teachers, or even the celebrities that we like and follow, they're all flawed. Now, I am not saying that the real George Washington was a perfect leader by any means. He owned slaves.
I was just going to say, slave owner.
He authorized the destruction of indigenous villages. He was not a flawless man, nor does he leave behind a flawless legacy. But solely through the context and lens of this musical and this song in particular, where George Washington is telling Alexander Hamilton of his plans to retire and asking Hamilton to draft this farewell address. To me, it is one of Washington's greatest acts of leadership to recognize that he has done enough, that he has fulfilled his role as the leader to such an extent that this thing that he fought for and created and led, it can now move on and prosper without him. That, to me, is the ultimate sign of a true leader. And, I don't know, it's just nice to see every once in a while. It is so rare, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great song. Moving on. So, Washington retires, and now that Hamilton no longer has a Washington in his pocket, Hamilton's political career starts to go a little haywire. He's even more vocal about his opinions, and he becomes a little bit of a loose cannon. And Tommy J and his cronies basically threaten him, and they're like, hey, by the way, we know you've been fucking that girl and like paying off her husband. So don't undermine me again, or I'm telling everyone.
I'm telling.
Exactly.
Like that?
Yeah. So Hamilton responds to this threat by doing the second stupidest fucking thing he's ever done in his fucking life. And he decides to write a little pamphlet telling anybody who would listen about his affair and the money he sent his mistress's husband. Stupid. So fucking dumb.
Worst? The worst. Yeah. Okay. Could have done without this.
Truly. So the man is a pariah after this is released. I mean, political career over. Dreams of becoming president, goodbye. The scandal, it was too much. It's too much now. And these were the people that were afraid of ankles. So how the fuck are they going to process this, right? So the whole town is aghast. And then we cut to Eliza's reaction to all of this. I mean, imagine your husband publicly humiliates himself, humiliates you and your family. So she sings the song Burn, where she's burning all of the letters that Hamilton ever wrote her and denounces him and their marriage. And it is a song of anguish and heartbreak and anger. And this is a man who, throughout their entire marriage, has constantly put her second. And when I tried to imagine what that must have felt like, I thought about how, for me, in the deepest corners of my mind, I can get really dark thoughts about myself. And my biggest fear is that someone would validate these awful things that I think by thinking them too. And I just can't imagine what it must have felt like to always feel overlooked by your husband and then have that fear not only validated, but then validated so publicly. And the part that kills me when she's burning all of these letters is when she says, I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Eliza reacted when you broke her heart. I think when people become these public figures, it's so easy to dehumanize them and view them as entertainment and gossip and really like relish in their pain. And the fact that she really did actually burn those letters was her way of saying, like, I don't owe you, the public, you, history, anything right now. And I can't imagine having to grapple with that while also just dealing with the downfall of your marriage on top of it. We are not a fan of Alexander at this point.
We are not.
Dude. I mean...
Wait, sorry. Can I just say...
Oh, yeah, please.
Julia Harriman's performance of Burn in the SF cast.
Mm-hmm.
The way her voice breaks.
Oh, God.
I could cry just imagining her singing it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've seen so many shows and so many renditions of the song Burn. And yeah, the ones that are the most meaningful to me are those performers that are able to combine both the pain and the anger through their voice. It just hurts that much more.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, Alexander's kind of ass right now. Like, we're not a fan.
We're not.
And honestly, no one is. He's become basically a laughingstock, and his career is never really able to recover from it. But his son, Philip, who is 19 at this point, is in the midst of trying to become a man. And he really does love his father. He really does look up to Hamilton. And because of this scandal, Philip has to constantly defend his name and his honor a lot. And unfortunately, some random ass, nameless ass loser starts trolling Hamilton in public. As if I'm not fucking trolling him on my podcast. But Philip is like, bro, I can't stand for that. That's my dad. So Philip challenges Troll to a duel because this is the only way to squash beef back then.
No, talking? Huh?
Yeah, no. Working things out? No. The only option is that one of us has to die.
Yeah.
And very, very sadly, Philip Hamilton is the one who does not make it out of this duel alive. All because this 19-year-old boy wanted to defend his father's name. And both Hamilton and Eliza were at his bedside when Philip died from his wounds. And in their grief, while Eliza is wailing over Philip's body, Hamilton puts his hand over Eliza's. And even through her tears, she still pulls her hand away from him. There's just too much anger there to let him in that moment. So now we have entered the lowest point in Alexander's life. And this is all captured through the song, It's Quiet Uptown. You know I have to play it.
Oh, no.
You know I have to play it for you. We got to get in the mindset. Okay, let's go.
Like, you just had to start the clip right when he died. We didn't even start the song yet, and I was already fucking crying.
When I watched this 2 weeks ago and I got to this point, I was level 9. I paused. I was like, whoa. We're not moving on yet.
No.
I'm going to pause this and I'm going to cry about this for 5 minutes because it's too much. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck this song.
Honestly, the worst fucking song in the musical.
Okay. So in the song, the Hamiltons move uptown as they grapple with the worst pain imaginable. the death of their child. And in his grief, Alexander becomes a different person. No longer fighting for attention, no longer trying to have the last say. He becomes quiet. And he spends his days walking through the city, imagining talking to his son. And then the song transitions to Hamilton talking to Eliza. Eliza walks out, and she's wearing this black coat, and her face is blank. She's not looking at Hamilton, and she's just standing there, paralyzed in her grief. And Hamilton is singing to her, just begging for her forgiveness. I'm just gonna fucking read the lyrics because what are the use of my summaries? There is a grace too powerful to name. We push away what we can never understand. We push away the unimaginable. There, standing in the garden, Alexander by Eliza's side. She takes his hand. It's quiet uptown. And as Eliza reaches for Alexander's hand, Alexander is reduced to tears. I mean, just sobbing. And the company in the back sings forgiveness. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Again, if you aren't throwing up crying watching this scene, I know you're suppressing some major shit, okay?
Stop lying to yourself.
We all know what it's like to hold on to anger and hurt and sadness. And as heavy as those things are to carry, it's almost addictive. We struggle so hard to let that go. Mm-hmm. And after a while, the thought of forgiveness is unimaginable. And there's just no words to describe the type of strength Eliza had to be able to do that, to forgive him. Better than me, babe, let me tell you.
Yeah, can't say I would have done the same.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I don't know. But you know what? We're getting towards the end here, okay?
yeah.
We're wrapping this up.
Wrap it up.
Okay. So we now find ourselves at another presidential election year. What's that like? And this time, it's between Aaron Burr and Thomas Jefferson. And as we know, Aaron Burr has really just been lurking around the background this entire play,
NPC.
wanting to be in the room where it all happens, but just not having that star quality, you know? And he's, again, a very fickle dude, doesn't really have any strong opinions on anything. He just wants to be in a position of power. So despite Hamilton's major rivalry towards Thomas Jefferson, Hamilton chooses to endorse Tommy J over Aaron Burr, thus granting Jefferson the presidency. So instead of going to therapy, Aaron Burr is like, you know what? That's fucking it. I have hated you for the past 2 hours and 20 minutes of this fucking musical. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So would you like to duel?
Not talk it out. Fight to the death. Yeah.
Not just move on?
No.
And so they duel, and Aaron Burr shoots, and Alexander meets his death at 47 years old. And that's how the world remembers Aaron Burr. After he shoots Alexander, he sings, "History obliterates, and every picture it paints me in all my mistakes. Now I'm the villain in your history." I know that if we look at this musical by itself, it's really easy to look at a character like Aaron Burr, whom I've been fucking shitting on this whole episode, and just reduce him to one dimension. He was jealous. He was weak. He was a coward. But the truth is, we don't really know who he was. And that's the cruelty of history. We don't get to decide how we'll be remembered once we're gone. And the finale of this whole musical really emphasizes this point. So let's watch it. Let's watch the end. Do you know how many times I had to rewatch these songs to put the story together?
Again, it sounds like your fucking fault. No one made you do that.
All right. So this finale brings back all of our major characters, and they are summarizing all of the things that Hamilton achieved throughout his life. And why is it that we, you and me today, in the year of our Lord 2024, even know about this? Who made sure? Who made sure that we remember? You find out in the song that it was Eliza. She put herself back in the narrative, and she spends the next 50 years of her life ensuring that all the work Hamilton did would never be forgotten. And in this song, she's singing to Hamilton about all the things that she did during this time. She interviewed soldiers who fought in the war. She published his writings. She spoke out against slavery. She continues his legacy. And then she tells him about her proudest achievement. She starts this private orphanage in New York City. And she does this on her own for herself. And then finally, after 50 years, Eliza and Alexander are reunited in death. And the musical ends with Hamilton showing her the legacy that she's left behind. And she looks out into the audience and gasps in wonder. Who the fuck? Lynn. Okay. You realize that Eliza is the hero of this story. If it weren't for her, there wouldn't be this fucking musical. People wouldn't remember his life in such detail. And I'll just end with saying that Alexander Hamilton is remembered in history as a person who was larger than life, a force to be reckoned with. His life was big and full and loud. But your own life doesn't need to be big and full and loud to be just as significant and just as worthy of being remembered.
I'm going to be honest, like we could transition beautifully into my segment now if we wanted to. I mean, the connection's there.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Hey.
Fuck me up.
Fuck you up. Okay, so a bit of a pivot. Not a musical.
Okay.
As you could have guessed, I wasn't going to follow up your musical story.
And now we will talk about Wicked.
Can you imagine? So today I'm actually going to talk to you about a little project started by one of my sisters, Mios. It's a zine, and it's called the Liminal Spaces.
Okay.
And I'm sure as I go through this, you will draw a couple of parallels. And then you can sum up at the end how our story's connected.
They always do.
They always do.
We are able to pull something out of our butts.
Please. Please. All right. So honestly, I'm just going to go straight into the context.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. So context. So for all of you crybabies who don't know me personally, Mios is one of my husband's 2 younger sisters. We are not blood related, but for the past 15 years, we've been sisters in every sense of the word. And to give you a high level sense of what she's like, since I can't paint her whole life picture for you all today, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about Journey of Souls. Mm-hmm. And when I first read about the different levels of souls, I'm like, okay, well, I'm obviously like beginner, maybe intermediate. And then I was like, I wonder if I know any advanced souls. And immediately I was like, Mios.
Really?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So she's younger than me, but I am constantly floored by the depth of her wisdom and empathy and the way she can so effortlessly channel both of those through her art. Mm. And we were always pretty close, but during the pandemic, which you may or may not recall.
What is that?
Yeah, it was just, oh my God, it was this whole fucking thing. But we were quarantined together with Jomar and our other sister, Jelena. Just the 4 of us, because my mother-in-law was stuck in the Philippines for like fucking 6 months. And I feel like that's when I really got to know her on a whole other level, because there were so many late nights spent over, I don't know if you remember all the healthcare workers who got a dozen free Krispy Kreme because they were our heroes for like 2 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had so much fucking Krispy Kreme. Dude, it was a little much, but like those late night snacking and it was during this time when I really began to see her as kind of like a North Star of sorts. Okay. Jomar likes to call her our spiritual advisor. But she's just so aware of her truth and so accepting of your truth. And you can always turn to her and know that she will guide you in the right direction. When we were trying to get pregnant, I honestly didn't really tell anyone. I held a lot of shame around trying and it taking kind of some time. And it was just something that I was holding inside me. But Mios was one of the few people that I told, in part because she doesn't have kids. So I knew that there wasn't going to be any unsolicited advice about well, you should try this. Yeah. But she just radiates so much safety and understanding that I knew that no matter what I told her, it would be received with absolutely no judgment and so much care. And there was 1 month where I got another negative pregnancy test, and she texted me out of the blue, and she had gone to her local library's book sale, and she found this fortune-telling book of names. And, she opens it up. My name actually happens to be in there. Under Ariana, it says, "There's nothing to fear. Marriage and motherhood will suit you." And she texted me that photo, and she said, "Don't cry because I already did." And that's all she said. And again, she was one of the few people who knew what I was going through. And she could have belabored the point and been like, "I am so sorry you're having a hard time, and I hope this makes you feel better." But she intuitively knew exactly what I needed in that moment, which was just divine reassurance that this was written for me. And that was all she sent me. And so all of this to say, these little examples, having her in my life has just been such a gift. She's taught me pretty much everything I know about embracing softness and having grace with yourself. Honestly, if her energy weren't so gentle and open, I would probably be really intimidated by this well of wisdom. because I'm like this dumb fuck, you know? Like in comparison, like that's how I feel sometimes when she's like, you know, she's radiating all of this. And I'm just like, oh my God, I want to know everything that you know. Like I want to feel everything that you feel. I wish I could point somewhere and be like, follow her here, or go and sign up for an energy healing workshop with her. But she's not one to flaunt her wisdom. That's how much she transcends the rest of us lowly humans who constantly seek validation.
You mean she's not making a podcast
No.
and posting about it every day?
No, she is not. Yeah.
Who would do that?
Yeah, so earlier this year, she told us that she was thinking of making a zine. And some of you may be asking, what, pray tell, is a zine? So a zine is a self-published work of art that's circulated amongst smaller circles. And there's a collage-like element. There's a mixture of art and text, and it's usually somewhat handmade and then stapled and then photocopied and then circulated that way. In Mios's case, it was this, by the way, I do have permission to be talking about this on the pod. Let me just, I'm not just like, I asked her first. But in Mios's case, it was such a labor of love. And again, did not widely advertise it, just kind of asked some close friends and family, like, so would you guys be interested? And everyone was like, yes. So I should also mention here, incredible fucking artist, incredible fucking writer. So of course this zine made sense. And the zine is called Liminal Spaces. And I'm going to read a little bit about why she called it that. So in this letter from the editor from her first volume, she says, "Why the liminal spaces? The older I get, the more I realize I love a gray area. The beauty of what has gotten me through the hardest parts of my life is realizing there is always a transition between what was and what will be. Life is filled with infinite chances to show up differently." I could fucking cry. So volume 1 is about grief. Obviously, when I read it, I was fucking sobbing. I thought about sharing it on the pod because she said I was free to, but it just felt very intimate. And I didn't feel comfortable like broadcasting that sort of intimacy to the world. So that was the spring. And in August, she published volume 2 of her zine. And I kept telling myself to read it, but for some reason, I kept putting it off. And I felt like I had to wait. Like there was something that I was waiting for. I didn't know what, but I would see it and I'd be like, now's not the time. Now's not the time. And then I just so happened to pick it up right after my birthday. And so she wrote this second volume of her zine while in the throes of her own birthday blues. So it was impeccable timing.
When's her birthday?
Her birthday is August 7.
Okay.
She's a Leo. Okay. So the timing was impeccable. And because, you know, I fucking love a good birthday cry. So
you?
Me? I guess I should say that the cover of this zine is a birthday cake that says the Liminal Spaces. And the dedication is a short one. This issue is dedicated to every version of myself. I hold us so deeply. We made it. So that's the first page, and it's just a collage of pictures of her throughout her childhood. So yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot in here. There's a letter from the editor, and I'll let you look through this after, but I wanted to talk about one of her spreads. And this spread was the one that stood out the most to me. The title is In Loving Memory, and it's an epitaph, and it's her photo, and it's an obituary dedicated to her 20s. And it says, I'm just going to read the whole thing. On August 7, 2024, my 20s passed away peacefully in their home after an emotionally complex battle with personal expectations, complicated by a deep distrust of their own choices, chronic growing pains, and early onset people-pleasing. My 20s came kicking and screaming into the world in 2014 while insisting on listening to One Direction's cover of Teenage Dirtbag at midnight, quote unquote, while it still applied. Best known for their all-consuming depression and anxiety attacks, they explored therapy in their infancy and dedicated their life to their healing journey. Other notable works that came about in their introductory year include Big Breakup from Abusive Man-Child, and a cult classic, Meeting Your Soulmate, a star-crossed lover's story. My 20s received both a BS and MS degree and started their professional life as an occupational therapist, a source of many of the aforementioned anxiety attacks. Despite early burnout and disillusionment, they found profound meaning in their work in their later years. The U.S. healthcare system recognized my 20s for their service through the COVID-19 pandemic and publicly honored them with a frayed and sun-damaged Heroes Work Here sign outside of their workplace. Notable passion projects include Deconstructing False Images of Self-Worth and Collapsing Systems of Inadequacy, the Damaging Effects of Comparison. While these works remain unfinished, they have been passed down to a beneficiary who will continue this research. In their mid to late life, they suffered from severe rush, bravely navigating time slipping between their fingers. They had to seek care abroad, resulting in traveling across 13 different countries with frequent follow-up visits stateside. My 20s pursued friendships tenaciously, nurturing the love for and of these lifelong partners. These friendships are amongst their greatest accolades and are globally recognized as a once-in-a-lifetime achievement. In their later years, my 20s married and found themselves moving back to Marin, enjoying 3 beautiful years together in their 600-square-foot corner of the world. This quiet, tender love has been critically acclaimed in a local capacity, as their wish was to remain out of the public eye. My 20s were fiercely dedicated to meeting every growing edge with grace and witnessing the endless becoming, a lifelong journey to wholeness and embodiment. They ended their time here with a strong sense of self, clarity, and undeniable reverence for this lifetime. At the time of passing, their final sentiments included, "It feels like coming home." In lieu of flowers, an affirmation of love can be paid to yourself in the mirror in my 20s honor.
Oh.
Yeah. So I loved this because it's such a sharp yet tender tribute to this clearly transformational decade in her life. I would say a transformational decade for a lot of us, but she holds every version of herself in such reverence while expressing it in this cheeky, almost irreverent way. And she closes with this idea of coming home to oneself, which resonated with me because it's felt like one of the greater themes of my life, especially in these past few years. And I think we even talked about it during the last episode when Ash shared her sob story about defining oneself by their work. And I think I also said this back then too, but as I grow older, I've found so much comfort in settling into myself. And I know you've felt that too. Mm-hmm. And there's so much relief at letting go of this pressure to be anything I'm not and coming home to everything that I am. And I also love that she ends with, in lieu of flowers, an affirmation of love can be paid to yourself in the mirror in my 20s honor. Because she may have written these words, but these feelings are for you too. When we embrace our present selves, which I know we all strive to do, it's often at the expense of who we used to be. We're so quick to say, I'm so glad I'm not that person that I was before. But that discounts the fact that we wouldn't be who we are now if we weren't every single version of ourselves leading up to us in the present. And so for me, at least, this was just a gentle nudge that, you know, whatever stage you're at in this life, you too can pause and find wonder and awe in where you've been and who you've been. And you too can show yourself grace and hold every version of yourself in love and reverence like this. You know, we're here and we're alive and we're forever evolving and becoming. And it's beautiful. And I'll just close with, she has some field notes at the end. And she says, this concludes volume 2 of the Liminal Spaces. Working on this project while going through the yearly birthday blues was deeply reflective. There was a time in my life where I didn't think I'd make it this far. This is heavily juxtaposed with the undeniable gratitude I hold for this lifetime. A lot of my 20s felt like an endless wandering, but I stand at the end looking back and I see so much beauty and fullness. Closing this chapter, I finally feel like I'm coming home. I often find myself reflecting on being the most me I've ever been at the present moment. Full body acceptance, reverence, and curiosity for the ongoing mystery of life. And she says, inspiration for these pages always hits when I'm listening to music. Here's a peek behind the curtain. And she quoted Landslide by Fleetwood Mac.
Never heard of it.
I sent her videos of me sobbing. Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? And this little zine, this incredible work of art reminds us that we can and we do. And that's all I fucking got.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mios. So many things that she said in her obituary is applicable to all of us. And I don't know that when I turned 30, I took the time to reflect and honor what I had gone through, let alone make something so beautiful out of that experience. I feel like a lot of us just are so distracted by the next thing that we forget to just relish in it for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an advanced soul.
That's a fucking advanced soul, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
You know how they say that advanced souls are a little bit more withdrawn and reserved, and they're not flaunting.
Yeah.
They're just here to guide the rest of us.
If you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, why haven't you listened to episode 13 yet?
Episode 13, baby.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like me, so.
And that's fine. I've accepted that I got a lot of fucking work to do.
Yeah, that's okay.
So thank God for people like Mios.
There you go.
These souls that truly, like, what a gift to intersect lives with.
Happy birthday, Mios.
Happy birthday, Mios. You are a real one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to say that we did it.
We probably did it. We, like, 85% did it, I think.
I would say 95. We're almost there.
Yeah,
We're almost there.
All right.
Bring us to that finish line, Arns.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening to the tears, to the BS, and everything in between. Follow us on socials, brbcrying.podcast. Rate, review, subscribe. 5 stars only. Again, the math is not mathing. Lots of listeners. Not as many reviews. So let's think about that. No, but seriously, thank you for listening. And please subscribe to our Substack in the show notes and link in our bio.
And if there's any recommendations that you have for us that you would love us to cover in a future episode, or if there is something that made you cry and you are looking for a space to share that, we would love to be those ears for you. Truly, truly, truly. That is the space that we're creating here. You are always going to be at home here. Your feelings are always going to be home here. So don't be shy. We're around.
Send us those sob stories.
And that's fucking it.
And that's fucking it.
All right. It's time to go.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Go for now. But then we're going to come back, I think.
Yeah.
But until then,
BRB crying.